Lovely. Hey, Jaden. Good to see you, buddy. One sec. That cut is driving me up a wall right now. I filmed a vlog right after I went out, and I just want to finish post. I just want to post it and be done. Very good, Mom. I liked it. My mom just texted me asking how the movie had. Sorry. Cancel. I know. To. Just gonna send it to myself. Nice. Alright. I can just tell this is gonna be irritating. To send. I don't know. Good out of good. I liked it. I was pretty sure I was gonna like it, but I liked it. Sorry, my phone is behaving like a butt right now. Anyways, no, I really loved it. I thought David Cornsweet was great. Was it Supergirl was the cameo you were talking about, or was it Peacemaker? Which I enjoyed immensely that Peacemaker was in it. Oh, you were talking about Peacemaker. Yes, that was very funny. I enjoyed that quite a lot, yes. I like that the storyline that they're setting up with Supergirl is one of my favorites of the stuff of Superman lore. So I knew they were adapting it. I'm just excited that we're getting confirmed that it's coming. That made me cry. Oh, hello, second person. Also, Jaden? No. Why was there two Jadens there for a minute? Oh, anyways. For some reason I can't see this person's full name. Hi, other person. If this is just Jaden again, hey, I don't know why Jaden's on twice. Me confused as well, Jaden. I confused as well. Who is Jay? Hi, Jay. Feel free. No worries. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Oh, Jojo. Good to see Jojo. I know Jojo. Good to see you, Jojo. No worries. I was just confused because, anyways, it doesn't pop up. It was just Jay, and I was like, is Jaden accidentally logging on twice? Good to see you, Jojo. No, I really liked it. I liked Peacemaker. So, great Superman, great Lex Luthor. Probably, I'm going to throw this out there. The first real adaptation of Lex Luthor I've seen. Businessman adaptation of Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor in the original Christopher Reeve Superman movies is more like how post-crisis Luthor was. But, jeez, I'm sorry you have to deal with that. Your dad sounds like an exhausting person. Just me. I'm recording this, by the way, so should be. No, I love it. See, I was inclined to like it. I've never made it unsettled that I like James Gunn as a filmmaker. I like the superhero stuff. It made me realize, God, I really want to write a superhero story. I don't know why. There's a little part of me that feels I'm too close to superhero stories, a little bit psychologically. So I always resisted doing them just because it's a little bit hard for me to be unbiased because I have so many ideas usually. Let's see. Live on Discord once again. What a terrible thing to get into a fight over. Not on you, it's just like, I hate when I once got into a fight with my dad about something similar, and that was just not. It was like, I got so hurt by it, and I'm like, but it makes you feel dumb for being as hurt, but it does hurt because they're not listening to you is what really hurts. They don't acknowledge your opinion as valid, and that's what really hurts. That's what really is terrible. At least that was what it was for me. Because I got into an argument once with my dad about, this is real. We got into an argument why sports and music are different. And it was a dumb argument. My dad was like, well, it's just entertainment. It's people who listen to music and who listen to sports, those are different things. Those are different types of people. And he's, well, it's just entertainment. No, that's obnoxious as hell. Yeah, it's obnoxious for somebody to talk down to you on a thing you like that. And especially obnoxious when your dad does it. One second. I'm still listening, Jaden. Yes, but on a happy note, the movie was awesome. No. Yes, on a very happy note, the movie was great and I loved it and I was very happy to watch it. And I think it's one of my new favorites of the super. I was watching it and I was like, halfway through I was like, oh right, I love superheroes. I love superhero stories. Nobody important would hate it. People don't like it, and that's fine. I'm not here to police what people like, but let's be honest, the people who are mounting the campaign are not approaching this with best principles. They're not really approaching this with best principles. They are very much, there's an ulterior motive. And if you don't like it, you know what, whatever. God bless you, and I hope you have a good time. But there are people out there who are not approaching this with the grace of God in their heart. It is so funny that happened. Nope, this is a huge hit. Turns out people turns out this is what they like. Turns out, no. It's these types of movies that they don't like whatever the Snyder thing was. Snyder, listen, the secret villain of, no, that's mean to say, but I want to because I don't. The Secret, Zack Snyder gets a lot of shit, but I feel like The Secret, there's the secret villain, the secret antagonist, or the secret problem, egotist of the old DC universe was a guy named Jeff Johns in a lot of ways. I find, because in many ways, Snyder's adaptations are very good adaptations of Jeff Johns comics, and this is a problem, I think, with having like, comic writers on straight up be in charge of the film studio, because like, Johns could not resist the egotism of adapting his stuff over anybody else's. He always prioritized his stories, his ideas on the DC universe. Well, no, he took Superman seriously. And pretty much all the authors out there, I really like Mr. Terrific. I think is somewhat of a difficult character to get right, but I loved this version of Mr. Terrific. Guy Gardner was great. Hawkgirl was great. Mephisto. You guys haven't seen my video yet, but Mephisto, the Changing Man, was one of my favorite characters. I was just psyched to see him, because he's one of those obscure characters that is always fun to see. But two, he's great. Exactly. I thought that was such a good moment. I think the only controversial thing, really, of this being a Superman adaptation is that he makes Superman's Kryptonian parents a little bit of villains. It makes them bad guys, which I suspect will be the most controversial thing to purists, but whatever. Jor-El is not really a character I care all that much about. Exactly. I didn't mind it at all. In fact, no, I didn't mind it at all. I thought that was an interesting take. It didn't do what I hate with origin stories, which is rope them into some sort of grand conspiracy. Because I always hate that in Batman stories when they try and do that, when they make Joe Chill part of like a conspiracy or I'm friends with the friends of a person of this, but the Telltale games really irritate me because they made Bruce Wayne's parents like criminals. I'm like, there doesn't need to be a conspiracy. Conspiracy origins are always kind of bad, honestly. But, so I don't mind this really, because it doesn't change the character. It doesn't like there was some secret shadowy government trying to create Superman. It was just, parents were nice, but they were like, they loved him, but they were also colonialist pricks who thought they were a superior species. Which, I don't know. I don't mind that. If they ever do Zod, hello Lobotomy, hello Froggy. We're talking Superman. Hello, good to see you. We're talking Superman. Oh, no, wait. I just got out of it. I just literally, just this minute, got home, so still very fresh in my mind. The new Superman movie. Really liked it. And Krypto was fun. No, but there wasn't too many... No, I hated it. There were not enough brooding scenes where Superman contemplates conquering the entire human race and ruling over them like a god. It didn't. No, we didn't get enough of those scenes. No, I'm kidding, of course. I loved it. No, the post-credit scene wasn't that. It was just kind of a bit of a joke. And Superman kept trying to save everybody. It was good. No worries. This is just a chill hangout stream post-Superman discussion. I am recording, by the way, so just to remind people. Ooh, very good. I've never played Pathfinder before. At some point, do you guys want, Lobotomy, you want to hear an idea I had for a D&D campaign? Possible story? So I had this idea of, I wanted to do this sort of fantasy superhero thing. So I had this idea, it would be a group, it started out as a normal D&D campaign. I was even thinking of starting it out, literally taking a module and starting it out there. But the twist is, at some point, player characters would get transported into our world, and it's progressively become a superhero story where they have to fight evil villains while maintaining secret identities and stuff like that. But it's like, they just have powers of D&D characters, but in our world. And to up the tension, I would have more D&D characters slip into our world. That's an idea I had. Could be a story, just a straight story. Exactly. Have you guys seen the new Superman movie yet? If you haven't, that's okay. It's good. I'm gonna get some water. Be back in 1 second. No BRB screens. I don't. Oh right. Oh wait, I just turned it off. Right. I just turned the camera and mic off when I want to. Don't have to. I've always thought in D&D how essentially the player characters are essentially superheroes in all but name. No, of course. And that is perfectly fair Lobotomy, and I even think in modern day somewhat rational. There have been a lot of them, a lot of movies made, but this is fun. It's good. This is fundamentally, it's been a very good This is a good one. I appreciate Gunn as a director and as a filmmaker, and I think DC is very strong hands now. And what's fun, Supergirl's in this. That's one of the big canon. That's one of the big cameos is Supergirl pops up. It's nice. It doesn't really. Lois and Clark are in a relationship. Supergirl is already there. The Justice League is forming. What it's so fun. I'll throw this out there. What's so fun is that I believe they're literally using the Philadelphia Museum. Let's see. If you guys don't, do you guys know what the deal with the Philadelphia Museum is? So the Philadelphia Museum is, I think it's the Philadelphia Modern Art Museum, is very important in the history of superheroes. Let me show you. What is the Hall of Justice based on? Oh, damn it. Oh, no, there we go. Cincinnati. I'm dumb. It's the Cincinnati Union Terminal. Recognize this? This is the original Hall of Justice. And I believe they filmed it there. All of Superman movie. All of Justice. Yes, there we go. Oh, yes, they legitimately... It was. Because that's literally the cafe where... Anyways, that's literally where in the... Everything... So it's fitting... Knowing Gunn, it's fitting that they based it... Oh, no, I have not seen it. Have you really? Let me see. I haven't checked it today. I'm thrilled. Oh, I love it, Enzo. I love it. Oh, she looks beautiful. Let me comment. Well, I gotta attack you. She looks beautiful. I love it. I want to attack a few of you. That sounds very... I owe a few other people attacks. That sounds very threatening in any other context, but this... I've been mostly just... I love it, Enzo. I love it. I owe you an attack now. Well, I'll get on that tomorrow. Yes. I also owe you an attack. It sounds very threatening when you say it out loud. I'm going to attack you. If you did not know the context... Thank you so much, Enzo. I was starting to get nervous nobody would attack her. Anyways, so I'm very appreciative. Thank you so much. She looks beautiful. Makes me really want to write a superhero story. Watching this, it made me like, oh right, I love superhero stories. Guys, I'm going to throw out something. This happened while I was watching the trailers, and I don't know how to explain this other than it just happened. I cried during the Fantastic Four trailer. I don't know why I did, but I did. It made me cry. It wasn't even particularly sad. I think I was just really excited to see it. I don't know. I frankly, I don't know why. Oh, that's... Jaden, your dad is the worst type of nerd. Sorry. Well, he's not actually Superman's dog. What? Well, in post-crisis continuity, Krypto is usually Supergirl's dog. Nice! You're getting attacks from all over the place. Let's see. Where are you? There you are. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, you got 2 attacks. Jeez. Your dad, I hate to say it, your dad sounds like a really tedious nerd. Well, he's not. But, so things I liked about the new Superman movie. I liked Superman. I think David Cornsweet was great. I think, oh, crap. What is his name? I want to call him About a Boy, but I know that's not his real name, and that was not the name of the character. This is the best, by the way, Nicholas Hoult. Right, Nicholas Hoult. This is, by the way, the best business Luthor in live action. Pretty close to... does this meet Clancy Brown in the Superman animated series? I don't know. But that's a big deal for me. Because to me, Clancy Brown was the definitive Lex Luthor for a very long time. I've been meaning to rewatch the Superman animated show, because you know what? I think that's underrated. Well, so here's the thing. Somebody had a good point. The DCU has literally rebooted almost everything. Somebody pointed out, the previous DCU was like a continuity nightmare. And Wonder Woman exists, but certain movies don't exist, but this Batman doesn't exist anymore, but this version... It's like 5 or 6 things do and don't exist, and what is and isn't in continuity is so in question that really only a reboot could happen. Jaden, is your dad a Snyder bro? So, Enzo, lobotomy. Sorry we're talking too much about superheroes. I literally just got out of it. I just saw it 10 minutes ago. So, it's on my mind. I want to write a superhero story. I love fantasy, but I really want to write some superhero stuff. Unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe I should just make it public. I've been reading old Superman. I read some old Superman comics in prep for the movie, just because I wanted to see. Do you know that Superman dated a mermaid in college? That was one of the funnier ones I found. This is a thing. Superman had Yeah, yes, this is real. Superman had a college girlfriend who was a mermaid. He didn't know she was a mermaid. She drove around, she was in a wheelchair and she covered her tail with a blanket. But yeah, and can you guess her initials? Jaden, it was Mr. Bill Finger who thought of that, aka the real creator of Batman. Mr. Bill Finger thought of that because he wrote that issue. It is very strange, by the way, that the creator of Batman has wrote numerous issues of Superman. I'm surprised that that's never talked about. Do you guys know who Bill Finger is? Just if you don't. Bill Finger is the real creator of Batman. Well, the creation of Batman is a really complicated story. But basically, Bob Kane came up with the name Batman, and then he brought in Bill Finger to flesh it out. So, things that Bill Finger had created, let me throw out this, things that Bill Finger had created. He redesigned the suit to how it looks now. He decided instead of hyphen, it would just be a single Batman. He created Robin, Gotham City, the Joker, Two-Face. Oh, and he created a little character called Bruce Wayne. That was Bill Finger's idea. Bruce Wayne was his idea. Anyways. But because Kane had in his contract that only he would receive credit, Finger never really got the credit till much later. Nowadays, you'll see him credited. It'll be created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger, which is kind of bold, but whatever. It's acknowledgement, so that's all you can really ask for. See, it's bull. I had a very obnoxious commenter talk about this on a video I made about the situation. It's bull because comic books are always unless the person wrote and drew it at the same time, comic books are always credited to the first writer and the first artist. The characters are always credited to that. That's why, like, Steve Ditko is the co-creator of Squirrel Girl because he drew her first issue. Yes. Gunn the one I respect Gunn a lot, and he's talked about this. He says Batman is giving him some pause. Because theoretically, he would like a version of Batman in this universe, but he also wants Matt Reeves to give Matt Reeves full control of his own Batman world. And so he doesn't totally know what to do. And I respect that. He's like, listen, unless we figure out a really good version of Batman, we're not going to do it. And I really respect that. I assume there will be a Batman at some point in this universe, but I'd rather them take their time and figure out a good take on it. So maybe they will do the Dick Grayson. You know what? Here's maybe the idea. He's talked about maybe using Damian. So maybe they'll do the Grant Morrison run where Dick Batman and Damian is Robin. That might work. I don't know. Question for the group. If you guys were superheroes, what would be your superhero alternative identity? Lobotomy, you can kind of have one already, but supervillain, you can be a supervillain. And Jaden definitely has one. Yeah, of course, I don't know. If you were a superhero, who would you be? Lobotomy Girl is No, I want you to create your own superhero. Who would you be as a superhero? If you could be a superhero, what type of what would you... Yes. Because it's got me really thinking. I really want to make a superhero story. And I don't care if nobody wants to publish it. I'll publish it on my own. One stupid idea. I've had this idea for... Yes! Would you be a superpowered frog or just a dude who saves frogs? And 1 second. By the way, it is so funny to me to see... Do you know there is a gorilla superhero in DC Comics? That's literally his... He's a gorilla artist. He's literally... he has... No, well, Gunn in an interview he said, no, he's just going to let Matt do what he wants. He's just going to let Reeves do what he wants with Batman. Matt... And I really respect that. I like that idea. There is this movie, it's a really good movie, called Brazil. And it's a dystopian film. And the story, it takes place in a strange dystopia. And the story kicks off because the main character, his air conditioning gets broken. And he accepts help from a vigilante air conditioning repairman. He's a vigilante, but all he does is he repairs air conditions outside of government interference. And I've always been obsessed with that idea. He's just a vigilante air conditioner repairman. And I like this idea of he's just doing something. You know what I should have? Yeah, I'm going to do that from now on. But Brazil film. Is the full movie on YouTube? Oh, there he is right there. Yeah. I once had an idea that I thought it would be funny You guys, I've had this idea in the back of my head for a while of, wouldn't it be funny if Spider-Man, when everybody's appropriate age, teenagers, but wouldn't it be funny if Peter Parker ended up dating Batgirl? And I don't know, I was just like, wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be a funny situation? Peter having to deal with a Batman type figure, a Dark Avenger-ing figure. And I've been trying to think of a way maybe I could do that with either more with original characters, but that takes a while. That would take a while to set up why that would be fun. By the way, well, so as I did point out, it is real in universe. This is canonical. If people don't know that Tim Drake, I believe it was Tim Drake and Jubilee dated briefly when Marvel and DC crossed over. But I'm just saying, let's predispose a universe where they both exist, is what I'm saying, Jaden. Let's not try and figure out universe crossing over. Let's just predispose a universe where the characters exist in the same world and go from there. Which is very much... Have you guys ever read the Spider-Man Superman crossover? I don't know if you have, but when Spider-Man and Superman crossed over, there was a big crossover special. And the way they did it is they just existed in the same universe. They didn't question it. And I was like, let's predispose it's that universe instead of the separate one. Let's call that its own little universe where Spider-Man and Superman, Marvel and DC exist in the same world, which could theoretically have happened. One of my favorite fun facts is, if you guys don't know this, Marvel came very close once or twice to outright buying DC. Legitimately, once or twice, they came outright close to buying DC Comics. Warner Brothers was desperate for money, and they just didn't know what to do with DC, so they were just going to let Marvel take it over. And it was almost going to happen. So there is a conceivable multiverse where it happened. Marvel and DC permanently merged. How much money do you think that would make? Let's be honest. I don't think everything crossing over is great, but how much money do you think that would make? How much money do you think that would make legitimately? Do you think people would freak out? Bam! Spider-Man is in the next Superman movie. Yeah. Not that I necessarily... Listen, stories need to be strong on their own. Crossovers are fun, but stories need to be strong on their own before... it needs to be fun, just... A superhero needs to work just on his own and on their own, and if they don't, then that's a problem. Superman, yes, needs to be a compelling character by themselves outside of crossovers. And if they rely too much on crossovers, then that's a problem. I don't know. I know you guys don't. But Marvel Comics used to be infamous for... If they were premiering a new superhero, it would usually be Spider-Man or Wolverine would cross over with the new superhero in the first issue to go, no, you'll like this character. Spider-Man's in it. Jaden, have you ever heard of NFL Super Pro? Do you guys, you've never heard of NFL Super Pro? We're all waiting for the NFL Super Pro movie. Let me see if I can find it. I have read this comic before. It is pretty dull. Here's what's nice about Discord. I can just do this. This is NFL Super Pro. I can just upload pictures. Isn't that nice? So, Marvel decided to make a superhero in collaboration with the NFL, made a football superhero called NFL Super Pro. And he wore a super-powered football jersey and mostly solved football-related crimes. And as you can see, the first issue, they were so desperate for this idea to work, they had Spider-Man in the back. And it's certainly nothing special. I always think it's going to be funny, these famously bad ideas, and then I read them. Yeah, that's what they do. Then I read them, and almost always to a T. If they're not sure about an idea, Spider-Man will usually guest star in an episode. Well, pretty quickly. And you can usually tell if a superhero is going to be a hit if Spider-Man is in it, because... If they're confident enough, Spider-Man won't show up, but if they aren't, he's going to show up. That's just the nature of the web, man. I had plenty of energy. I had a big soda when I was there. But guys, he knew my mother when researching spiders in the Andes. Guys, don't you want to watch the Madam Web verse? Guys, we're all excited about Madam Web. It's always a terrible idea, but it's a shame because it's Fabian Nicieza who wrote this. Which is why I think it isn't funny bad, it's just base level competent. If you don't know who Fabian Nicieza is, I think I'm saying the name right, but I can never be certain. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But if you guys don't know, So the story goes that it was Rob Liefeld who created Deadpool. That's not really true. Rob Liefeld created a character called Deadpool, but I would argue that the real creators, the ones you guys you guys like, it was Fabian Nicieza and Joe Kelly were the two writers who really cemented Deadpool as what he is now. So that's when they wrote him. So that's one of his pedigrees is he's considered the real creator of one of the real creators of Deadpool. So comics be weird like that. Some characters you like, the real creators are so distant from the actual character you like, it's very funny. But guys, really think about this for a second. Wouldn't it be really funny if Spider-Man and Batman had to collaborate? Really think about that. I know Spider-Man Superman makes more sense, but it would be much funnier if Spider-Man and Batman had to team up. Think of how think of how innately funny that idea is already. Just really think about it. Exactly. Because I'm trying to think. You can look at something like Green Lantern, relevant. By the way, that scene, there's a couple of great fight scenes, but the scene with Mr. Terrific is great. I really like Green Lantern's fight scene when Green Lantern fights, and he basically just gives the middle finger. He just basically uses superpowered middle fingers on an entire army. It's really fun. And of course, the Superman fight scene was great, where he spins around with his heat vision and destroys hundreds of guys at once. Anyways, it's all great. I really like, by the way, the scene with Mephisto, where he uses his powers and creates a sun, was awesome. Oh, I hate using that word. I feel dirty using that word, but I loved it. That was cool. I just thought that was really cool. What I like about that scene in particular is it kind of is the hinge of why Luthor screws up. He thinks everybody's just in it for themselves. And the fact that Luthor in the movie kills an innocent person in front of Superman to make Superman talk. And up to that point, Mephisto has been, I can never say it right, has been using, so Mephisto is a character who can create, turn his body into element, and he was using it to make kryptonite. But what Luthor doesn't understand, and the reason he was doing it is because Luthor had kidnapped his son, but what Luthor doesn't understand is, like, he's not that guy. These people aren't so selfish that they'll let Luthor just get away with doing something evil like that. So he betrays, but I like that because that's Lex Luthor's thing. He always misunderstands how people will act, and the fact that the fact that heroes will be nice, and he's like, he never gets it. Yeah, greatest hair. It's so funny that they kept the original haircut. It's one of these, you say for these, it's the bad guy doesn't understand that good people will try and triumph. Robin, you're here. I'm trying to. How's it going, Robin? Good to see you. I just got out of Superman. Yo! We're talking Superman. I loved it. I thought I was gonna like it, but I loved it. We're talking about, it was everything I wanted a Superman movie to be. To be fair, I thought I was gonna like it. I liked the team behind it. See, I have real affection in my heart for the Christopher Reeves movie because I really loved that movie as a kid. So, and I loved Christopher Reeve, so I have such affection. But man, this movie was just great. Yes, exactly. Well, Gunn, the thing about it, as I've always said, is Gunn gets... The problem with Snyder is he was just a bad pick for Superman. He was just such a bad pick for Superman. He would have made more sense directing Batman. I don't know if that would have been good either, but he was a better Batman guy than he was a Superman guy. But it's like, but Robin, don't you want to see more scenes of Superman contemplating how much of a god he is? Well, yeah, that's what was so fun. Almost every superhero got a cool scene, but it was still Superman's story. I remember thinking, watching the Mr. Terrific fight scene, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was like, holy heck, the Mr. Terrific fight scene is awesome. And then I was like, the Guy Gardner scene was awesome. And then finally I was like, I'm waiting for Superman. And I was like, yes, this is also great. Mr. Terrific is a little bit of a hard character to get just because he's a very Silver Age-y concept. But it was fun. I would love it. They're holding off on that, from my understanding. I was pitching that theoretically they could do Dick Grayson Batman maybe instead of Bruce Wayne Batman. It might be a decent time if they don't want to repeat, if they don't want to step on Robert Pattinson's. That's the talk, but that was so great. That's the idea I had, but that's an underrated time of Batman when the Grant Morrison run. Krypto was cute. I love that Supergirl is in it already, and if you guys have not... Yeah, we've discovered that I've learned a little bit about Jaden's father, and he's a tedious nerd. Is no offense to your dad, but possibly. I'm gonna throw this out there. I am so fucking happy. Sorry to curse. I am so happy that we are done with the goddamn Grant Morrison stuff. Not Grant Morrison. Jeff Johns garbage. We are so past the Jeff Johns garbage storylines. Even the second Wonder Woman movie, which you can't blame that on necessarily one person, but was essentially an adaptation of a Jeff Johns story. And I'm like, I am so glad we're done with all of that. Oh, I like the fact that Maxwell Lord is seems to be an ambiguous anti-hero again, which is anti-villain, anti-hero again. Yeah, which is good. If you guys don't know what the deal with, I figured the storyline, I kind of guessed which version of the Superior World Gunn would go for, especially since Gardner is in this and stuff. So he's doing Justice Society of America, which fits. I figured like Gunn would be more of a fan of the Justice Society of America and all that stuff, because that's one of the better runs of the Justice Society, maybe the. And two, that's a more funny one. And I figured Gunn would like Keith Griffith's stuff much more. And Guy Gardner is one of the major characters in the Justice Society of America run, and so is Maxwell Lord. And that really makes sense. Knowing what Gunn likes, I figured that would be. This seems to be more JSA, though. You guys, I know you guys don't read comics, but you'll like the JSA stuff. I'm going to throw this out there. You're going to really like the JSA stuff. The JSA stuff is going to be really fun. If they're going to do it. Oh, you are? Good. I'm just going to call it now. The JSA stuff is going to be right up you guys' alley. And one of those was directed by James Gunn. First Shazam movie was fun. I didn't see the second one. I've said this, not to get political, but I'm good with never watching another project with Ek Levy again. I'm just good. I'm good with never seeing another project. I'm good. I wish him the best of luck in this career he wants to pursue. This new path of this career he wants to pursue. Not too much luck, actually. I hope he never achieves his goals, but he's just not a person I want to ever partake in his stuff again. Well, no, he said that the Suicide Squad is still canon, but that's pretty much it. Here's a good rule with what's canon. If James Gunn has worked on it, it's canon, and if James Gunn hasn't worked on it, it's probably not. I wonder if they'll do Fire and Ice. That'll probably... Yes, it feels so mean to make this the Snyderverse when you could, I don't know, when it's really see, in my mind, I blame everything on Jeff Johns, which is maybe not terribly fair, but I blame everything on Jeff Johns. He's the one, because if you read, the DCU was very much in line with Jeff Johns' vision for DC Comics. Like this, it was the type of stuff Johns really liked to do, and the fact that out of all of the stories that were adapted, Jeff Johns' were the ones most adapted. Hints at this. So if you don't know, Jeff Johns was the former head of DC Film. He's also... See, I've come to the revelation that a comic book writer should probably never be put in charge. And it was really nice talking to you. But I am of the opinion that a former comic writer should never be put in charge of film. Because... in my opinion, they cannot resist the ego of making their own stories the most prominent one. And this was a problem, I think, with Jeff Johns' stuff. Well, more specifically, hyper-focus on Johns' stuff and the tone that Jeff Johns likes to have in his stories was very prominent throughout the entire DCU. And I am of the opinion that this was a problem. This was a little bit of a problem. Why? Isn't it coincidental that almost all his stuff was picked over anybody else's? We didn't get any out. So, Wonder Woman 2 is a loose adaptation. So, Wonder Woman 2 is a loose adaptation of his stuff. The Shazam... So, not to criticize everything, the Shazam thing is his. The whole Flash movie, that was his. And I like the Shazam movie, so... The Aquaman stuff was also a little bit his. There's elements of his stuff pretty much in every single one of the things, and it's not all bad, because Jeff Johns isn't the worst writer in the world, but he's a very... As much as I complain about how much I dislike Jeff Johns' writing, I can't really in good conscience say he's like a terrible writer. But he has some he has ideas about how superheroes should be, and I don't like them. Anyways. I know we're talking too much. I know. And if we are in John Osterman, Keith Griffith, I always forget if it's Griffith or Griffin. If it's Griffin or I always forget if it's. I think it's Keith Griffith, but I might be wrong on that. Keith Griffith. No, it was Keith Griffin. Damn it, Griffin. I'm totally wrong. Nope. Yes, Keith Griffin and J.M.D. Mantis. Oh right, if you're curious, he created Jamie Raines. The Jamie Raines Blue Beetle. He also did a bunch of stuff. I'll throw this out. Here's my thought process. Let's just skip Barry and go straight to Wally. Let's just skip Barry and go straight to Wally, because frankly, I could give or take Barry as a character. The problem is, I think at this point, Grant Gustin is going to be too old to play the role if they're going to do a new Flash. Because it will probably take a few years, and by the time, I think he's just going to be too old. Now, I'm good with... Listen, I think a clean break needs to be made with all this stuff. Sorry, this is so much superhero talk. I'm so sorry, guys. This is so much superhero talk. I know not everybody is here for the superheroes, but this is the post-me watching Superman stream. I need... No worries. Yes. I kind of cried at the... I'm just going to say it again because I need to examine this. I kind of cried at the Fantastic Four trailer, and I don't know why I did that. I guess it was just really cool to see. I don't know if I've ever talked about this much, but I like really retro future stuff. So the fact that we're doing a 60s set period piece instead of a modern day one, I think is really fun. I like that they're essentially... I wonder if... Here's a thought bomb. How much do you want to bet Valerie and Franklin Richards will show up in the modern Marvel movies? So, because the Fantastic Four are, I believe, set in the 60s. So, I don't think the 80s. I'm calling this, I think a Richards is going to show up. I think Richards, either the kids or the grandkids are going to show up in the modern Marvel movies. So, because you see Franklin in the trailer. So, let's see. What year does Fantastic Four take place in? Oh, but within an alternate timeline or universe. Oh, 1960s. So, really? That's kind of... Oh, fuck off, MCU. Stop calling yourself Earth 616. I'm so irritated that they did that. Earth 616 is the Marvel Comics universe. I'm so irritated that they keep calling themselves Earth 616. If you were born in 1960, how old would you be right now? You would be 65. I'm so irritated. Not 616. That's mainline Marvel Comic Universe. That's always been the mainline Marvel Comic Universe. So that's that. I'm not really a purist or something. Like that's I don't need to be a purist. But that's my one purity note is like, damn it. No, you don't get to do that, MCU. I am not accepting 616 as your official multiverse designation. I refuse to accept that. You can be 617, but you're not allowed to be 616. That has always been the Marvel Comic Universe. That's my one arbitrary asshole-ish fan thing. I'm like, no, good sir. You do not get that. I like alternative universe fiction. I think it's really cool, but I don't know. I'm not as interested in alternative universe fiction for fictional things. Alternative universe fiction is fun with history and stuff, because it's essentially history fan fiction, but... God, I just want to... Oh, if I could just... I hate this discussion. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Well, this movie is woke now. Everything is woke. I hate this discussion. I find it so obnoxious. I don't... Well, Jade, if a woman is not in the kitchen or being sat, or... A woman can only be three things. Mother, hot girlfriend who doesn't get in the way, and daughter figure. And if they have any interests outside of the man, that's woke. And superheroes were always about that. That's what superheroes were always about. Listen, superheroes could be very stupid, but no. It's just so obnoxious. These cultural pollute, and they don't even give a shit. That's the thing. They were complaining about it not being comic accurate when Crypto was in it. Crypto is Superman's dog. The funny thing is, there are stuff that you do not want. There are really stupid stuff in the comics that you could put in to make it comic accurate and that people would complain about it, and they should. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a cute dog. I'm pretty sure if we adapted Supergirl's horse, everybody would be upset. And just, do you guys not know the whole history with Supergirl's horse? What a creepy story, how much of a creep Supergirl's horse comment is? I'm not even kidding. Supergirl's horse is a weird creep. It's a whole story. I've tried to make a video about it several times, how weird the whole story with Supergirl's horse is, but I just can't nail. I can never get it. I just because Supergirl's horse is secretly a centaur who's in love with Supergirl, and he was briefly turned human, and he tries to control. Anyways, but that would be comic accurate. Do we want that? Yeah, exactly. Woman of Tomorrow is an amazing comic. I don't know. I've tried to badger people into reading it. If you guys let me. Oh wait, I can just show you guys some art from it. What I love about this is I can just download art now and just show you images. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Let me find a good piece of art from it because it's legitimately some of the best art you'll see in comic books. Somebody made a fake AI trailer for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. That is fun. Why not do? 1 second. Oh, shut up. Sorry. Only good things. I'm sure you already know what happens to Crypto if you're asking about it. He'll be fine. Don't worry. He'll be fine eventually. He might be going through some stuff in that. I don't want to spoil it. There we go. There's a good piece. But you should read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It's a brilliant comic. I love it to death. Well, the story starts out with her wanting to get drunk on a planet with a red sun, and then it quickly... Have you guys ever seen the movie True Grit? It's somewhat a take on True Grit, if you've never seen that movie. And I guess that's all I'll say. It's a good movie, if you guys haven't seen it. It's a con. I saw the trailer for the Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie. That looked cool. Fantastic Four, I liked. What else did I see? Oh, the new Ryan Gosling thing, Project Hail Mary. Like that. What else did I see? I saw a trailer for a Brandon Routh movie, but I'm suspicious of that because it's not an official trailer. It was a phantom event. And did they pay for this themselves? This not get distribution, but they decided to make this a phantom event. Oh, man. I've always felt bad for Brandon Routh because I think he was an okay actor. Obviously, that movie was a problem, and I didn't want it spoiled. He's gonna be fine. I'm sorry. Yes, he's fine at the end of the series. They find the cure. But it's a good comic. Jaden, do you know who Scott Fried and Big Bertha are? They announced that they're making an animated series based on them. So, I probably, that's another Keith Griffith thing, by the way, is sort of, no, that's a Jack Kirby thing, but yes. They're really fun because they are definitively like the one happily married couple in superhero land. They're one of the few superheroes that are happily married to each other. And I've always liked them as characters. There's a fucking I curse a lot more on Discord, I guess. But there's a terrible... Unfortunately, the single worst Superman comic involves them. I made a video about it recently, so it's just been on my mind. I don't know. But Scott Fried is... I'm still pretty convinced. Yeah. So, if you're curious, Scott Fried and Big Bertha are part of... There's another... It irritates me because there's two characters. There's a character named Big Bertha and there's a character named Big Bertha. And I get them categorically confused. One is Marvel and one is DC. Big Bertha is... Big Bertha. No, Big Bertha is the DC. Anyways. They have very similar names. But anyways, she is a Jack Kirby creation. She comes from... So I think they're going to do this at some point because they've been trying to adapt this forever. But often what is considered one of the great comic book stories ever made in the superhero world is the Saga of the New Gods. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of it because they constantly use it. Darkseid, Apocalypse, all that stuff is from the New Gods stuff. And that is a creation. Yes, it's maybe one of the greatest DC ever did. There's a few pinnacle, and that was a creation of Jack Kirby, who is, in many ways, I'll just throw this out there. Jack Kirby is in many ways the real father of the Marvel Universe. Stan Lee is an important figure in that, but in many ways Jack Kirby is the real guy who created the Marvel Universe. I shouldn't underplay Stan Lee. Some people try and do that, but Jack Kirby in many ways is a lot. That would be the other guy, Steve Ditko. That would be the other guy, but Fantastic Four, Captain America, the Thor comics, all his stuff. Cool. Fantastic Four, I'll just throw this out there. I hope Fantastic Four becomes more popular again, but I need you guys to understand that it is a plot. I don't want to say it. I made a video about it, but part of me, I don't want even you guys to watch it because it's kind of horrifying. Part of me doesn't even... Okay. It's legitimately the sleaziest thing I could think of. There's more fun. I'm kind of disappointed because I was like, I thought that would be a more fun one to look at. I was like, oh, this is so funny that they did this plot line, and then I read about the whole history of it. It just makes me mad, honestly, because it's so sleazy and it's so terrible. It's so sleazy and it's so terrible, and it's so just fundamentally garbage, DC corporate, why they did it, that it makes me mad, honestly. I should have. There's a much more fun bad one where Superman fights clones, twin clones of Hitler, and so that one is more fun, more stupid fun. And I wish I had done that one instead, because I was like, oh, it's the new Superman movie. I should cover the worst Superman comic, and I was like, oh right, and I was like, that one's fun, right? And then I remembered it, and I was like, oh, I should have looked at Superman at Earth's End because that one is stupid fun. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic future, and Superman is a bearded crazy person who uses huge guns to kill people. Oh, that's so fun. I made a video about it previously, and I'm like, oh, I always think it's going to be more funny than it is. And then I look into it, and I'm like, oh, right, this is the worst. It makes me mad, honestly, that one. If you watch it, you'll get it. You'll figure out what I'm talking about, but I don't know. Because it's just a fucking... What it is it's a political response to Jack Kirby. Because Jack Kirby was in the midst of lawsuits against DC because DC wasn't paying him for the work he was doing. And... Because Snyder doesn't know how to fucking pace his films. That's why. Why the hell was his stupid space thing 8 hours long? What the fuck was that? Sorry, I need to stop cursing. I don't know. I feel more free here to curse. Stupid space thing. Because it's like, well, the longer cut of... I don't know, because Snyder is upset. The original Star Wars, New Hope, is an hour and a half long. And it tells a complete story. And it's like, this is my idea for Star Wars, and it'll be like 8 hours long. Again, Snyder isn't the... I'm always irritated with Snyder, because theoretically Snyder is a guy I could get behind. He's more... He takes chances. He films stuff in a more experimental way, but he's... You know what it is? He's self-indulgent. He doesn't say no to... He's a maximalist who doesn't say no to any ideas, and it just goes on forever. Yeah. I gotta admit, when I saw that Gunn's movie was doing really well, I was like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's how you do it. This is how we do it. I'm thinking of starting a project. Yeah. Let's be honest. I'm gonna throw a little hot water at them. I think Rick and Morty fans aren't all that removed from Snyder fans. The thing that Snyder fans and Rick and Morty fans share is that they assume that they're the smartest guys in the world because they watch a certain movie or TV show. But yes, I do like Rick and Morty. It sounds like I'm like, boo, Rick and Morty. I like Rick and Morty. This is how we do it. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's so funny that Snyder, of all people, inspires this. Because he seems like kind of a mild guy in real life. I don't know. I don't think it's entirely fair to put this on his shoulders. Yeah. Snyder, like, let me throw this out there. Snyder, okay. Feel the love that Snyder has for certain things. And that can be very endearing, but I feel like it's gonna sound, I don't know. Snyder very much has... The problem is Snyder is an interesting director, but not necessarily a good one. And there's a difference. Like, he has interesting ideas of how to do things, and his films feel, like, big and unique, but it's not, like... The real problem is this. Snyder should never be a director. He should have been a cinematographer. If Snyder was a cinematographer working with a better director, he could... I think Snyder would have won an Oscar by now for his cinematography. Like, Snyder's never a guy who should have been made a director. He's never a guy who should have been... Yeah. Yeah, we have a job... There's a job on film for that. That's called being a cinematographer. Like, Snyder had never gotten to be a director. If he had been a cinematographer working under a good director, he probably would be considered one of the greats. Because one, Snyder can never say no, so he can't rein himself in. And two, a better director could have used his ability to find interesting and unique ways to shoot stuff to really make interesting movies. Like, I imagine if Snyder shot a Christopher Nolan movie, he'd probably be, yeah. Might be kind of cool. It goes to show that Snyder's best movie was a better writer wrote his best movie for him. It is. What's so funny about all this is that James Gunn has written a Zack Snyder movie, and it's his best one. But But the thing about it is, like, Snyder is freed from having to write. He suddenly gets a lot more fun as a director. It's the problem with Snyder is he has an arrogance that he thinks he can be a writer as well. Yeah. Also, James Gunn just has a very good understanding of like story structure and stuff and character growth. And the thing is, James Gunn has now become an interesting director. You know, he was starting out, you know, throw this out there, when James Gunn was starting out directing his own stuff, I kind of, his directing was only so-so. But the more he's evolved into an interesting director who makes interesting film choices now. Like, go back to the Mr. Terrific fight scene. The way he shot that is really kind of cool. I like the way he shoots fight scenes. He has a tendency to, like, kind of 360. You know, he has a very unique way of, like, fight scenes now. And I like that. Like, has developed over time into a very interesting director in his own right. And I don't think, I don't, it's R-rated, so you shouldn't have seen this movie, Jason. But the Suicide Squad movie has some absolutely amazing action sequences, and it's like I would put in many ways he's kind of pretty well as a director, and I think at this point he's surpassed Snyder in his ability for interesting shots. Yeah, like can I get away with showing Suicide Squad? Let's see. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this, but okay, this is one of my favorite. I like this scene so much. I can't do activities anymore. It won't let me start activities anymore. I don't know what that is. Am I just in trouble? Whatever, who cares? Here, I'm going to share my screen. I want to show you guys something. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. But, like, I grew kind of with this, like, right here in the Suicide Squad, when Bloodsport assembles his gun, like this. Like, this is what I mean by, like, he has more, he has interesting ideas of his own. Watch. And the rest are too violent. I don't want to show you on screen. That was cool. Yeah, and there's one I was specifically thinking of, but it's too violent. I can't show it. I would get in trouble if I showed it. It is cool. It is a very cool thing. I agree with you immensely. And it's just so little, but it's like, so, like, I just love the way the gun forms, and, like, sure, like, there's, like, artists and designers who made that really pop and stuff, like, watch an interview with, like, the prop guys, but it's, like, cool. And, like, has a tendency to make his stuff feel a little bit more down to earth. And anyways, I liked it. I really liked that scene with Green Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, with all the middle fingers. Yeah. People care too much. People get too obsessed with everything. It's a good movie. This is a good way to start this universe. I like this better. I just do. I like everything about this better. I'm happy that this version of Superman exists now, because we can finally, like, get on with it, right? Because it, like, feels like the version of Superman they should have done from the beginning. I don't know. I would be, yes, I know it's Creature Commandos actually is the one that started the universe. I believe the Suicide Squad of all things is actually still canon. Listen, Jane, everybody, the trick with understanding what's canon: did James Gunn write it? Did James Gunn work on it? It's canon. Did James Gunn not work on it? Then it doesn't count. Everything James Gunn did is definitively canon, and the rest is sort of canon. Well, he was watching... Yeah, the one thing that... But Peacemaker is in this universe, so... Okay, say this. Peacemaker... The Peacemaker of this universe, it happened exactly the same, but this version of the Justice League. Although that doesn't make sense. Maybe that was... Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. The DCU, the Justice League... All of that was a fever-induced hallucination of Peacemaker. He just had an idea that all the rest of the movies were just a fever-induced hallucination. That's the canon explanation for it. And we can move on from there. Because, like, Rick Flag, yes, that's my headcanon, that it was just a... Rick Flag is, like, Flag is in the movie, so that implies that, like, died. I assume they died. Okay, that's what it says. Here's my point. Here's how it works. Anything, they appear, pretty much the exact same events happened, just subtly differently to fit with this universe. So it's the same characters, just in a different setting. Or the willing suspension of disbelief, one of the two. Because I know Jason Momoa is returning as Lobo at some point, which is very good casting. By the way, Jason Momoa as Lobo is excellent casting. Let's assume that happens. I'm just going to say that that Justice League cameo was a fever dream for Peacemaker, because I think it's even implied a little bit that it was kind of illusion on his part. And being as Peacemaker is established as canon in this universe. Guys, what if I did a superhero story? I have a few, like, drafts of some superhero ideas I've been playing with, but nothing definitive yet. Okay. I have a few rough drafts of some stuff. But it's... By the way, I really like Mephisto. I'm kind of fixated on that because I like Anthony Carrigan, the actor who plays him a lot. He was in one of my favorite shows, Barry, as... Go to bed. How long have we been on? I appreciate you stopping by. 2 hours. How's everybody else feeling? Are you guys feeling tired? If you guys are feeling tired, I'd call. If you guys want to go to bed. Okay, do you want to go to bed, Enzo? Are you tired? Probably best to wrap it up anyways. Thanks again for stopping by. I'm thinking of making these a more permanent fixture. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. I have some ideas, but I've been enjoying doing this. I've been enjoying doing these things, and I hope to... We'll talk about it later, but I have some thoughts about where to go for in the future. But I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Yeah, bed everybody. I'm going to log off. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Good night, Enzo. Good night, Lobotomy. Good night, Jaden. Have a good day. And I'm still recording.